Good afternoon. The issue surrounding family living in poverty, especially in a well-developed country like the United States of America, is troublesome. The unfortunate thing is that there is more than enough food in the United States for everyone. With that being said, families living in poverty should not be as big as a problem as it is. Poverty is a state of one who lack a certain amount of material possession or money. Absolute poverty refers to being unable to afford basic human needs, which commonly include clean water, fresh water, nutrition, health care, education, clothing, and shelter. According to the United States Census Bureau, about 45.7 million people are estimated to be living in poverty. Poverty can affect a person's education, health, and also can be connected with crime. Getting an education can be a benefit to many. In America, I believe that everyone should receive equal equality when it comes down to education. There are many poor regions in the world that don't receive a proper education. Property taxes are mostly funded by public taxes. So if a house values are less in an area, that means less funding for better teachers, computers, books, and anything else a school needs in order to flourish. Also, rich people can also obviously afford to pay tutors. Anthony Cody of Education Weekly stated, "We cannot solve the problem of education inequality while we ignore the inequality and inequality resources available to low-income children in their homes and communities, as well as their schools." Researchers have found that there is a high risk of education unachievement for children who are from low-income housing circumstances. There is also a relationship between poverty and academic achievement. I learned in a sociology class that poor children perform low at school and have a behavior problem at school also. Also, teenagers living in poverty are more likely to drop out of school. Another important result of poverty is the health effects are almost always present. This includes things from disease to life expectancy to medicine. These diseases are very common in people like living in poverty because they lack the resources to maintain a healthy living environment. According to the June 2009 Economic Research Service report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 11.5 million Americans are both poor and live in low-income areas over a mile away from a supermarket that offers healthier food variety. Without adequate transportation to help the Americans get to their market, many opt for unhealthy food instead. They are almost always lacking nutritious food, which decreases their body's ability to fight off disease. Sanitation conditions are usually very, very low, increasing the chance of contracting disease. Sometimes these diseases can be minor, but other times they can be life-threatening. In general, people living in poverty cannot afford a proper medication to treat these diseases. Women who have children into poverty may not be able to nourish their children properly and provide adequate care in infancy. The children also suffer from disease that have been passed down through birth. Property, poverty can also be connected with crime. I know that all criminals are not living in poverty, and all criminals are not poor. It is likelihood of people living in poverty to commit crime that bring up the relationship of crime and poverty. In the United States, there are specific areas that have been overwhelmed by the infestation of crime and violence and appear to be at a peak area where poverty is high. The effect of poverty on crime can be clarified in numerous reasons and can be further recognized through this reason behind with many living in poverty commit crime. One of the main reasons for criminal behavior of people living in poverty is the way of survival. People living in poverty do not have enough and can barely sustain their basic needs. Sometimes they commit crimes such as burglary or robbery as a way to gain money in order to sustain these needs. Since poor people have fewer options in life, committing crimes is the only option to survive. It also offers a way so they can obtain a material goods that they cannot contain in a legal way. Also, poor people living in poverty do not like being poor, so they start selling drugs to attain a higher economic status. Today I have discussed how poverty affects education, health, and crime. Poverty should not be as big a problem as it is. There are people in the world that are less fortunate because they live in poverty, restricted environment. Thank you and have a good day.